the system of practice. Okay, everything that we do, we should have a systemic rule to follow, so we can complete them without much difficulty. But I just want to remind you again that the teaching of the Buddha, it's just something that it applies to us in everyday life. We live our life in a real world out there. We don't live our life sitting in here, sitting quietly without any sound, without any sight, or any bad smell, or taste, or touch, or bad thought. We have a lot of difficulty, we have a lot of failure, we have a lot of problems in our life. And that's what we need to overcome in order to live in a real peaceful mind. So I have two words here that I feel that it is very important in the way that we live our life. His teaching is about how we live. He taught us the noble way of living. That's it. Okay. He taught us to live the noble life. If everyone in the world live a noble life, the world can be at peace. There won't be any killing, stealing, molestation, lying, or people get drunk and do all kind of evil things. We don't have that. We won't have that. So this, the first word that I want to bring it up, because anyone who came in during Sunday when we have what we call a sermon that given by Tanchukun every Sunday, one word that he always brings up, passaddha. Passaddha. This is the word that I'm quite familiar with before I came here to Buddhism. Okay. Passaddha means the brilliance of the mind as a result of renewed faith. Okay? The brilliance of the mind as a result of a renewed faith. A lot of time when something happens to us out there, we start to lose our faith in ourselves. Talk about confidence, talk about conviction. Anything that we believe in ourselves, we start to lose that. So when we begin to renew that kind of faith, yeah, I can do it. I have confidence I can do that. That's renewed faith. In the other tradition that I was used to is born again. Remember that? We were born again. We born because our faith is alive again. And that's why I want to bring this up to remind us, because passaddha is the word that every sermon that all the monks give to us to show us the way of the truth of our life. He said, to renew your faith. So you understand your faith, understand your confidence, understand your conviction in your life better. That's the first thing, passaddha. The brilliance of the mind, to make the mind more radiant, more brilliant as a result of this renewal faith. Okay? So that's one. So when we understand that, anything that you do or you learn to do from here, that's it. That's about it. Try to wipe off all the impurities of the mind, so the mind can be radiant, the mind can be brilliant. That is to renew the faith of the mind, so we can see life in a new aspect, in a new perspective. Okay? But we have to learn something to do that. We have to do something. We have to be something to become brilliant again. Okay? So that's passaddha. The second one is about giving. Okay? This giving is actually one of the most important things in the life of what we call bodhisattva. Bodhisattva is a being who is destined to be a Buddha, the one who knows. That is in what we call Theravada tradition. In Mahayana tradition, they use the term bodhisattva. Bodhisattva means the one who delay their own enlightenment for the sake of others. So they want to help others to attain their enlightenment before them. Okay? So it's the same kind of deal. When you read the story of the 10 lives of the Buddha before the life of the Buddha himself, there were 10. If you look at the panels out there were 10 of them. Those 10 panels represent the 10 lives before he became the Buddha. And one of those is a life of Dhamma. Dhamma is giving life, devote his life in giving, generosity, in charity. Okay. But in here, the word giving, I mean you give all your attention to what you do. So that's what applies. It implies mindfulness. So you put all your mind in the object that you are interested in fixing on, studying, investigating, examining, whatever you want to learn, you put all your attention to it. Okay? So every time you sit, you say, I will observe my breath. That is what tell you, I will put all my attention in observing my breath at this very moment, nothing else. So that's giving in the very first, the beginning of our practice. And at the end of your life practice, just like in the Buddha before he passed on, he, all through his life, what did he do? He give. But he gave in the term of self-sacrifice, isn't it? He spent 45 years of his life walking through the subcontinent of India to show the way to all folks who's kind of ignorant, who doesn't know the way of the truth of their life. So in other words, his teaching is about the truth of life. So now we get back to our talk today. Today is a talk about a system of practice. I use the term system of living. Because when you practice Dhamma, you're living the life of the truth. If you don't, then you're fooling yourself, which is most of us do. We are fooling ourselves all the time. That's why we use the term delusion. We are deluded because being fooled by whom? You're the one to fool yourself, okay? Nobody else does. You tell them, this is me, I'm here, I'm so, I have this, I have that, I own this, I own that. That's not true, isn't it? That's what he asked us to reflect on, okay? So he's teaching. So one day, this is what he said. He sent, after he gathered 60 arahants, the original one, the noble, enlightened, the fully liberated ones, all 60 of them, he sent them out to spread, to show, to point the way of the truth of life. And that's what he told them. Tisikkhā, pick away Dhamma. Monks, go point the way of truth of life. Do point the way of truth of life. Atikkālayana, it is beautiful in the beginning. Macce Kalayana, it is beautiful in the middle. Pariyosana Kalayana, it is beautiful at the conclusion. Sākā Sappayanjana, with all the connotations and all implications. Kevata Paripunyam Parisutta, make them complete, make them perfect. Brahmachariyam Pakaseta, show them, point the way to those folks, the truth of their life. He said to make it complete, make it perfect in every aspect. What is the way to the truth of life? If you remember, see, the Four Noble Truths that he taught the 5 ascetics after he was enlightened, it's about disease, it's about suffering, it's about problem. You have to know the problem, suffering or disease. All problems, all disease have the cause or origin. So that's what you must know. Second truth. The third truth is about the cure. You must know how to end the suffering, to end the disease. And the fourth truth is about the way of practice to end suffering, to end the disease. So he taught us medicine, very simple. That's the reason why we consider him the doctor of all doctors. He knows the disease, he knows the origin of the disease, or the cause of the disease, he knows the cure, he knows the prescription. Disease, diagnosis, cure, prescription. Four Noble Truths right there. And the fourth one, the way to practice to get rid of suffering or get rid of the disease, that is the Noble Eightfold Path. That's what we're going to talk about today. This Noble Eightfold Path, when you divide this eightfold, it is broken down into 3 principles. That's what we always heard about: Sila, Samadhi, and Panya. Morality, meditation, and wisdom. So always remember these 3, okay? Sila, Samadhi, and Panya. Morality, meditation, and wisdom. How do this eightfold path fit into these 3 principles? Simple. The first 2, what did he say? He said, you must have right view or right understanding of all things. Right view or right understanding. Right view or right understanding of what? Of knowing that this life, this thing that you call life, the being sitting here that made up of 2 parts, the body and the mind, are just simply suffering or dukkha. He wants us to reflect on that. He said, this being is dukkha. What does it mean to? It means things that never remain the same. It constantly changes. It's beyond anyone's control. It's always a seed of pain and disease, unsatisfaction. Isn't it? If you have this right kind of understanding, right view of this, then you have the first one. You have understood dukkha, understood suffering, which is your life. This constantly change the both body and mind. Never remain the same. It is beyond anyone's control. You want to stop aging? Good luck. When you get sick, say, I don't want my body to get sick. Tell your body that. And always a seed of disease, isn't it? Every day, something gonna come up to your body. I can guarantee you. It's ache and pain here and there all the time. Especially when you are my age. So that's the right view of this being, which we call body and mind, sitting right here. If you understand this, if you have this kind of right view, Then the second thing that follows is right thought, right intention, or right aspiration. So what do you want to do when you understand this body is just suffering? Then you find the cause that make it suffer. Then you know all the desire and clinging to sensual pleasure cause suffering, you see. Don't take his word for it. You find that out. You find the truth for yourself. When you know that, that is what you attain your own insight. If you have come up with this intention to separate yourself from sensual pleasure, not clinging, not attached to that, that is the way to be free from your own suffering. These two parts, right understanding and right intention, right thought, right there, it considered the wisdom part of his doctrine. Okay? Right view, the first one. Second one, right thought, right intention. Intend to separate or uncling from sensual pleasure. Uncling to want to be this and that. Uncling from not becoming. I don't want it all. Some people are so desperate in their life because they have no control over it. And this is very dangerous, okay? Because through our life, we thought we have control of our own destiny, isn't it? And all of a sudden we said, I have no idea what I'm doing in this world. I have no idea what's going on with me. I have no idea how I can control myself. That is dangerous, because when you come to that point, some people put the gun in its mouth. See? So there's danger there that you must really, really reflect and contemplate on this point. Okay? He said there is a way of doing all this kind of thing. He just pointed to us that this is a danger of living your life. He said there is a way that you don't have to go through all this. So he said the third, fourth, and fifth. First, have a right speech. Why the right speech is very important in our world here that we live in. What do you want people to lie to you? Of course not. You want people to slander you, gossip about you, use a foul language towards you? You don't. Okay. So if you don't like that, we communicate, we live among us, among beings just like us. So the way we communicate, if we do it honestly, with integrity, with truthfulness, then we avoid all this kind of wrong speech. That's why a right speech is very important in living in our world. Okay, that's the first thing. Maintain the right speech. That's the third one. Have a right speech. The second in this group called right action. What does it mean, right action? I don't want to be killed. I don't want to be harmed. So why should I kill or harm others? Right there. I don't want to be molested. I don't want to be stolen from. So why should I do that to anyone? Those are kind of three actions that you should avoid because you don't want it. It's not because someone's going to punish you, someone's going to put you in jail, because you have done a wrong thing. It's not that. But This is reciprocity process. I don't want this, so I don't do anything like this as such to anybody else. Okay? That is the right action. The fifth one, we talked about right livelihood. Right livelihood is also very important. Because a lot of time, when we look at our life, we go to school, we go to work every day. What do we do that for? We want to put the food in our table, isn't it? That's all we do. And that's all we think about all day long from the time we wake up in the morning. What am I going to have for breakfast? What am I going to have for lunch? What am I going to have for dinner? Isn't it? That's all we do. All 3 meals, okay? Sometimes we have to figure out right off from the time we wake up in the morning, to this evening, this is what I'm going to cook and make and want to eat so and so. So your day practically is preparing for food to eat for that day. Isn't it? You think about it. And some certain culture, their life, okay? Certain culture, not all of them. Human culture, their life is concentrated only on making food, starting from 4 o'clock in the morning until about 6, 7 o'clock at night, because they eat all day long. And you may find that certain culture, okay? I don't want to name any of those, but you can think about it. Because some culture, they prefer to make food, they love to cook all day long, just to satisfy this tongue, the taste. So livelihood, if you are doing something that, for example, make a living by trading slave or human being, that is not recommended. Make a living by trading ammunition, that's not recommended. Weapon, okay? Poison, that's not it. And making a living by trading on poison, intoxicating drug, so on and so forth. Okay? These are not a kind of right livelihood which you look for. Of course, some people are fishermen. Some people are making a living by slaughtering animal. They have that. But, this is thing that it's kind of dilemma in our life. You can't tell a fisherman, say, hey, you can't go catch a fish, right? Because you killed the fish. Well, I don't know what to do besides killing the fish. But of course, this is the thing that the Buddha said. If you have to do something like that, you must do something to compensate for it, though. You're not going to get away by killing, okay? You're not going to get out of killing by absolve your sin of killing the thing. But you might, what we call attenuate, lessen the severity of that by doing something better in your life to compensate for it. But it's not going to get rid of all the evil thing that you've done. Right? So now, the third, the fourth, and the fifth, that is right speech, right action, and right livelihood. We consider that moral virtue. Morality is the concept of conduct that you should avoid. Avoid killing, avoid stealing, avoid sexual misconduct, avoid lying, avoid slandering, avoid foul language, avoid frivolous talking. Okay, so there are 7 physical and verbal act that you should avoid. Of course, there is a mental act also. You should avoid what? What we call perverted greed. Thinking of taking possession of others. Some people have certain possession that they love, but some people has perverted craving for that. Say they want to take it. That is what we call perverted craving or perverted greed. Okay. Hatred and ill will and intention of harm or doing or injure anyone. So these kind of three kinds of mental act that you should abstain or refrain. So these three, right speech, right action, and right livelihood are considered or grouped in group of morality, sila. Okay, the first two, right understanding or right view, and right intention that consider wisdom group. Okay. Now the last three, the sixth, seventh, and the eighth factor of the path. Right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. What is the right effort? We can use that in our life out there, right effort, because it's the effort or the energy that you put in, first of all, to eliminate any bad thing, unwholesome thing, the evil thing that you have in yourself. So we start from the habit. We can go on to about some kind of bad thought, bad idea, anything evil about yourself. Get rid of them, okay? That make an effort to get rid of the unwholesome. And then make an effort to prevent any unwholesome to occur inside you. Some people cannot watch their speech because they always have some kind of a, certain act in their verbal thing that they all have to use some kind of a foul language. So those are the things that you can try to avoid. Get rid of them and don't pick up any kind of those bad habits. Okay, and we do that. I've seen this in school, in children. See, a lot of children when they get together, and if they are not taught by their parents or teacher, they'll be taught by their peers, their friends. So anything that they gather, they will pick up from each other. So the peer teaching is very dangerous in this way. And that's what we have to try to prevent that, to eliminate the bad thing, prevent the bad thing to occur. The third kind of effort is to cultivate, develop the wholesome thing. Anything that's good, bring it up, train to do it, cultivate. We start with what? Today we start chanting with love, kindness, friendliness, goodwill, right? That's metta. That's what we need to cultivate. And then when you cultivate all these things, preserve them. Don't let them disappear. So that's the fourth kind of effort. Okay? Make an effort to eliminate evil, prevent the evil to arise, and then cultivate the goodness and preserve all the goodness. That considered a right effort. The seventh factor of this path is right mindfulness. 2 weeks ago, we talked about this. That is a full foundation of mindfulness. To be mindful of what? your body. The feeling, mental process, and mental objects and phenomena. Those are right kind of mindfulness. The eighth factor of the path, right concentration. What concentration? You must train until your mind is able to focus on, concentrate on the object that you are interested to learn, interested to investigate, interested to know. Through the momentary concentration, through the access concentration, and through the attainment concentration. That is the Eightfold Path that divided into the three systems of living, noble living: morality, meditation, and wisdom. I hope I didn't make you more confused than you have been. So that is, if you start well, start with morality. Why do we need morality? What does morality mean? We say, intend to abstain from killing, intend to abstain from stealing, intend to abstain from sexual misconduct, intend to abstain from false speech, intend to abstain from taking intoxicant that cause the clouded mind. These 5 intentions to abstain, that is more moral code that all human beings should maintain. But on top of that, you must have 5 virtues to support and to cultivate your well-being. First, if you're not going to kill, why don't you make yourself having more loving and kind and mercy towards all beings? That's even better, isn't it? If you're not going to steal, why don't you have a good way of making a living, good livelihood, then you won't steal. If you intend to abstain from sexual misconduct, then you have to have certain kind of a self-control in sexual urge, in sexual desire. Okay? And false speech, if you maintain your integrity by being honest, being truthful in all circumstances, then you're not going to lie, you're not going to slander someone, or you cause any problem with your speech. Okay? So if you remain mindful, you don't need to drink, you don't need to take any drug, because all those intoxicating drugs and alcohol, that's what cause you to lose your mind. So by maintaining these 5 precepts, that is the beginning of your life. That is the middle of your practice. And that is the end. Because having this, it will allow you to have your mind clear of all remorse. When you are clear of remorse, you can settle your mind. And then, remember at the beginning we talked about giving all your attentions to focus on. That's what meditation is all about. If you don't give all your attention, your mind gonna go all over the world, universe. So you're not meditating. You're just thinking, daydreaming. You see? So having morality help you to support the meditation, and having meditation to steady your mind help to support your morality. And by having these 2 factors, morality and meditation, because you have underlying wisdom to know that, why are you doing it? So when you ask yourself, why are you here? Why are you meditating? Why do you want to do all this? You must have an answer. If you don't, it's another kind of what we call blind belief. Isn't it? So everything that he taught us is about one thing. Be wise. Know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, why are you doing it? Okay, so I'm going to stop here. Okay, if you're not sure about all this, I have a handout and I'll give to you. You can read it at home, okay? And review that. So if you don't understand, you can come back and ask me later on. But this is the system of practice, system of living your life, the noble way out in the real world. If you don't follow these three systems of living, you don't follow the way of truth of your life. And don't come back and say, it doesn't work.